Hello and welcome, my dear friend. There is something in you that has always known, a silent, unshakable awareness that whispers beneath the noise of the world. It has watched as you were handed a name, a story, a set of beliefs about who you are and what reality is. And yet something in you has never been fully convinced. That's why you're here. That's why these words found you. Because deep down, you feel it. The fracture in what we've been told. The unsettling suspicion that the world is not as solid, not as real, not as absolute as they would have us believe. And we are right. Everything we think we are, every belief we hold, every limitation we have accepted is part of an illusion so complete, so intricately woven, that it has shaped the way we see, the way we think, the way we exist. And yet, there have been moments, fleeting, undeniable moments, where the illusion cracked, where something deeper shone through. Maybe it happened when you stood beneath the night sky and felt the vastness press against you, a knowing so deep it made you question where you ended and the stars began. Maybe it was in the stillness of a quiet morning, when for a brief instant there was no name, no past, no future, just presence, just being. But then the mind rushed back in, didn't it? It told us it was nothing, just a passing thought, a trick of the brain. That is how the illusion protects itself. It does not silence the truth, it distracts us from it. And so we were taught to believe in a world of division, that we are here and everything else is out there, that we are bodies moving through time, people with histories, a set of experiences that make us who we are. But what if I told you that none of that is real? The moment we could think, we were given a framework to see the world through. Before we ever had a chance to question, the lines had already been drawn. We were handed a language that dictated what was possible. We were given names and told, "This is you." But who decided that? Before anyone told you who you were, you simply existed. Before thought, before labels, before the illusion, you were. And yet, here you are, searching, seeking something beyond the life you've been conditioned to accept. But ask yourself, what exactly are you searching for? A truth? A realization? A moment of awakening? Here's what no one tells you. The search itself is part of the illusion, because the very act of seeking suggests that something is missing, and nothing was ever missing. The greatest deception was convincing us that we are incomplete, that we must earn or achieve something to be whole. But look at your own experience. Right now, in this very moment, are you lacking anything? If you let go of the future, of the past, of the thoughts running through your mind, what remains? Silence, awareness, stillness. And that, my dear friend, is the truth they do not want you to see. Because a world built on the illusion of incompleteness is a world easy to control. The moment we believe we are separate, we become vulnerable. We seek validation, identity, always looking outward, never realizing that what we seek was never outside of us. Think about it. When have you felt most at peace? Was it when you achieved something? When the world applauded you? Or was it in those rare, wordless moments where nothing was missing, where you were simply here? The illusion works because it convinces us that we are just the wave, small, temporary, vulnerable. It makes us forget that we are also the ocean. And yet, the signs of the truth are everywhere. Have you noticed them? The inexplicable moments of connection, the quiet pull of something beyond what you've been told, the feeling that something about this world isn't quite right. That is not your imagination. That is not coincidence. That is the truth calling to you. But here's the problem. The illusion doesn't just exist in our minds. It exists in our bodies, our habits, our very way of being. Even if we see through it, something keeps pulling us back. That something is fear. Fear of letting go. Fear of losing everything we've built our identity around. Fear of what happens when the mind no longer holds control. This is why most of us stay asleep. Not because we can't see the truth, but because we are afraid to. But what exactly are we afraid of? Because if everything we think we are is just a conditioned identity, a collection of thoughts and memories, then what happens when we let it go? You do not disappear. You do not cease to exist. Instead, you remember. And that is the greatest threat to the system. A person who sees past the illusion cannot be controlled by it. You do not chase validation because you already know. You move through the world with a clarity that cannot be shaken, a presence that cannot be explained, an inner knowing that nothing outside of you has power over you. And that, my friend, is true freedom. But the question remains, will you take the next step? Most people don't. Not because they can't, but because the illusion is comfortable. It is familiar. Even when we see through it, something in us resists. The mind clings to the known, the predictable, the safe. But let's ask ourselves, what exactly are we holding on to? A set of beliefs handed to us before we could question them. A story we were told about who we are. A name, a history, a collection of fleeting thoughts. If we take a step back, we start to see how fragile it all is. Our entire perception of reality is based on conditioning, on repetition. From the moment we were born, we were told what is possible and what isn't. We were given a script before we even knew we were actors in a play. But what happens when we stop following the script? Something incredible. Because the moment we stop identifying with the illusion, we stop being controlled by it. We begin to move differently. We no longer react out of fear. We no longer chase validation. We no longer seek something outside of ourselves to feel complete, because we already are. And this is where the mind fights back the hardest. It whispers, "But if I let go, then who am I?" That is the final barrier, the fear of losing who we thought we were. But here's the paradox. The thing we fear losing was never real to begin with. Remember, the cave we fear the most holds the treasure we need the most. The moment we stop clinging, the moment we surrender to what has always been, something extraordinary happens. Life begins to flow. Obstacles don't disappear, but they no longer control us. Challenges arise, but we no longer mistake them for suffering. We stop resisting the natural rhythm of existence, and instead we move with it. And through it all, we must remember, we were never separate from the divine. That is the essence of true awakening. It is not about adding something to ourselves, it is about removing everything that was never us. And yet, we live in a world that thrives on keeping us distracted, keeping us searching, keeping us chasing an idea of happiness that is always just out of reach. Because a person who is always searching is easy to manipulate. A person who believes they are lacking is easy to control. But a person who knows, a person who moves through life untangled from illusion, they are untouchable. If these words resonated with you, let us know in the comments by writing, "I'm whole." Let this be a mark of recognition, a signal that you are among those who see. Because once you see the truth, you can never unsee it. And that changes everything. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If you found value in this message, please like the video and share it with others who might benefit. Don't forget to subscribe and continue your amazing journey by watching one of the videos showing on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there.